Hi everyone, this is Emma from the Creation Station in Harborne. I'm here today with the lovely Sarah Cressall, the owner and the founder of the Creation Station. I thought it'd be really nice to speak to our franchisor today because she always asks us loads of questions and she's always asking us to do videos, and I thought I'd turn the tables and ask her a few things. So let's go. So I want to take you right back to the beginning, Sarah, and tell us a little bit about why or how you started the Creation Station.
Wow. Well, thank you for being interviewed, because I like to be the other side, getting everyone else to do interviews. It's a funny story because, to take you back, I did some volunteer work in Zimbabwe. I did Operation Rally, and while I was there, I hurt my knee and I was doing bits and pieces around outside on the camps, and I was doing painting. I was painting signs. I was painting toilet paper and putting it on the trees. I was making where we had our dinner really pretty. I was about 22 at the time. And there was a local guy there. He said, Sarah, can you help us develop the women's local arts and crafts cooperatives? Because we want to build women running their own creative business. And I was like, it was like a sliding door moment for me. I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to support women to run their own creative business? And at the time, I'd taken some time out. I was a catering manager in London. And I thought, if I really want to achieve this, I need to do something about it. And another thing that triggered me was my boss had said to me, if you carry on as a catering manager, you too could be a regional manager. I was like, oh my God, I could end up in a career that I don't want to be in. So I returned back to London. I gave my notice in as a catering manager. And I thought, how can I firstly develop my own creative skills and then bring my management and creative skills and somehow, at some point in the future, help women run their own creative business. So I got picture framed, 4 bits of wood, 70 quid. I thought I could be a picture framer. So I became a picture framer. I worked a bit part-time as a manager in the catering company. And I kind of spearheaded my creative business. I also I did a mural at Charing Cross Station. I sold stuff at Camden Market. So I developed my own design and maker business. I got commissions. I did Greenpeace's 20th anniversary t-shirt. I learned how to knock on doors and get contracts, because it's amazing what you can do if you ask. So my creative business was really growing. I had some good management experience. And then I was lucky enough to meet Duncan, got pregnant, had Sam. And I remember Duncan was cleaning the windows. I was holding the ladder. I was about 4 months pregnant. And I said, Duncan, I can't stand up. I had to go in the house and my hips just literally collapsed. And I ended up in a wheelchair. And for this, I had the next 2 kids. Similarly, things happened to me. It was something to do with symphysis pubis. Ligaments go too soft and you basically can't walk. But during that time, I'd also got a job teaching art and photography at a disabled centre, which was great because I could go in, use their wheelchair and still do me teaching. And it wasn't really teaching, it was more facilitating. It was helping each person discover different things. So I was facilitating photography. We set up a dark room. There was a lovely guy called, I could talk for hours about this, by the way. There's a lovely guy, I'll tell you the story, a lovely guy called Barry. He was 22. He was in the same age as me when I had the idea of supporting women. He was paraplegic, but he was in a wheelchair. So we put a button on his wheelchair, and which meant he could take photographs. So we'd stop, he'd take the photograph. And he loved graveyards and bins. So we went to loads of graveyards and bins, took all of these photos. Because I could picture frame, and we knew how to print, we printed all these pictures, framed them, and because they were all council locations, I went to the council and say, look, you've got to put a gallery on if this guy's work, it's amazing. So Barry had his work displayed in the council buildings of all the bins and graveyards in Exeter, all framed. And it was just like, it was such a joy to see how it made him feel. He was, he was beside himself, he was chuffed to bits, as his family were. And then I had the kids, and a mate of mine said to me, there was loads of gym, there was loads of music, but there was nothing creative. And a friend of mine said, why don't we do something? And it was that eureka moment. It's like, there's nothing that helps each child unlock their own individual potential. And I used to go to music classes with the under 3.5 years. And, once they'd got the toy, the tambourine, they didn't want to share it because they just got it. And then, I just came out of some of those classes, don't know if you ever felt that, feeling worse than I did when I went in. And as a mum, it's hard work being a parent. And when you're feeling like you're a rubbish parent or your kids aren't behaving or whatever. And then I thought these classes need to be something where you come away feeling uplifted in whatever way that means than when you went in. So I started developing the classes, realised there was a gap in the market for nurturing each child and the relationship between each parent and each child, and hence our quite unique process for Creation Station happened. So although we do arts and craft, it's about the journey of discovery, exploration and development. It's not what we make, it's how we make people feel. So that's kind of, and actually it feels like yesterday, that's how it started. And unbeknown to me, of course, fast forward, that was 2002, fast forward to now, we are now inspiring kids, adults, events. Even I've got a big imagination, but I didn't expect to have such an impact on so many people as we have. But we couldn't do it without franchise partners. And the reason I wanted to franchise it is because I'd seen some of the other groups and I knew how much flexibility I got as a mum. And obviously when the kids were little, but obviously now my mum's elderly, the flexibility that you need growing up as an adult. Because work is part of your life, but it shouldn't be all of it. You've got to put in the pleasure, you've got to put in looking after people, and we need to look after ourselves. And if you only do work, unfulfilling work, it's not good, is it? You need that joy. You've got to have the joy in your life to enjoy all of life. So I hope I haven't waffled too much, but that's kind of
that's great.
Kind of how it started.
As a franchisee, you've been running nearly 7 years now. But how do you know who you're looking for? What makes a fab franchisee?
Really good question. And it's a really important question because we're the most recommended children's activity provider and the most recommended creative provider. And that's because their reviews about our franchisees, not about me, and I love that, about our franchisees. So making sure we award the franchise, so we don't sell the franchise, we award the franchise to the right people is really important because it affects our brand reputation, our integrity, which is really important to us. So selecting the right partners is really important. We actually only award it to 2% of people who inquire. And what do we look for? We can teach people how to run the sessions. We can teach people how to know their numbers, do their marketing. What do we look for? We look for people skills. Somebody who is happy somebody you'd like to spend time with yourself, somebody you'd be happy to put your kids with, a bit of spark, a people person. They've got to be proactive. Although you're investing in business, it doesn't work if you don't work. A franchise partner has to make their business, they have to implement the advice and the support that they get. It doesn't happen by itself, so they've got to be proactive. And I think they've got to be quite ambitious, It's not a hobby. You can do a hobby. This is a business, and to really make the most of it, you've got to have some level of ambition to grow. And finally, I think we've got to be aligned. In fact, the final one is probably the most important one. Got to be aligned to our brand values. We want to make a difference. We want to inspire and nurture potential. And when we align those values with our franchise partners, we can go places because we've got a common purpose, and we're all, in fact, all of our franchisees, we've got that in common. And I think you'd probably agree. We do want to make a difference. We also want to make money. But we make a revenue and a profit by this first. The money isn't the first priority. It's making a difference, and doing that really well helps drive the bottom line.
That's great. Thank you so much. And finally, I'm looking for some insider information, some trade secrets. After all these years and being, top of your game, what's next? What new things have we got lined up at the Creation Station, if you can tell us?
Oh, well, I still find amazing is there is so much more to do. And I think that's because we're always responding to different market trends, different opportunities. We don't have this thing of we've nailed it, that's it. It's called a Kaizen approach, which is 1% improvements. We do something, what can we learn from that? What could have gone better? What could we do differently? How can we use a phrase, ripple it out? How can we, make make it easier, more effective, more profitable for our franchise partners? So obviously we started with preschool classes and we did babies, and then we got party inquiries. That was back in the day. Obviously we now do after school clubs and holiday camps. We do teenagers. We do workshops for adults in care homes. So the focus really is and it's a question we have, how do we support our franchise owners to achieve what they want? Because one person might want something different running their business than someone else. Some of our franchise owners turn over, tens of thousands in the summer. Mm-hmm. Others want a lot more flexibility over the summer because they might have little ones. Mm-hmm. So we've got a business model that can flex and work at the different age and stage of our franchisee on their business journey, mm-hmm. but also the age and stage of their kids and their commitments. So we're always mindful, how do we make our business model suitable for people on their journey? Mm-hmm. So some of the developments and innovations we have is making what we already do more profitable. So for instance, our after school clubs, which currently run for say an hour, how can they run for 2 or 3 hours, looking at voluntary Ofsted registration, supporting parents, because ultimately looking after our customers and listening to what our customers' needs is how we can support them best and make a difference. So looking at how the government is supporting parents with childcare, is how can we make our business as accessible for them so they can access, the childcare discounts and tax savings that governments are supplying. So looking at trends and adapting our business all of the time. So we're definitely looking at that. We've got a new website coming out, and we're really focusing on our adult well-being. Mm-hmm. So we've just done some training on supporting our franchisees to grow the adult side of the business, because that's proven to be incredibly profitable for those people who are focusing on it. We're also looking at, mums with babies. There's a huge amount of pressure. And in fact, the mental health of mums and babies are, the challenges mums and babies are having is the same, basically the level of bad stuff happening at mums and babies hasn't changed over the last 10, 20 years. So how do we support mums and babies? And to do, there's an awful lot of pressure for mums to get the new gadgets and to do all of this. So this course we've developed is, how to play with your baby and give them the best start in life with what you've got around your house. Mm-hmm. The pots and pans, the box, just get the box, for the first 3 years of their life, I'm not saying you just give them that for Christmas, but how can we support parenting to help them enjoy parenting? And because every parent and child relationship is absolutely unique. Those two relationships will never happen again. Whether you can read all the books and watch all the videos, but you and your child's relationship is unique, and you bring your own history to that relationship. So we want to support parents to enjoy parenting and maybe take some of the pressure off it. I think there's a lot of pressure on parents. So we support our franchisees to support their community. But there's loads of stuff. We haven't got time, but we've got loads of ideas. And just, they're not little things, we're working towards to be B Corp registered, which is about business for good. Mm-hmm. We're looking at our environmental footprint, getting rid of single-use plastic. So there's all elements of our supply chain, our training and support, what we deliver, looking after customers. We are also, we've got franchises overseas, so we're growing that part of our business. Work with organisations, we do loads of events. And what I love about our events, I told you should, once I get going, I'm fine if I'm quiet, but if you let me going. So we do a lot of events, and what I love about our event entertainment business is we gain the events and we then get contracts with franchise partners, as you know. So we've been in Smith's toy stores and been able to pay our franchisees to run events all over the country great for marketing. You can market your own classes whilst being paid, and they, joint marketing. So building our event entertainment part of the business is really important to us as well. And there's probably loads. There's loads, but I haven't got my notebook with me. That's just off the top of my head.
That's amazing. I'd like to say on behalf of all the franchise partners, thank you for making such a big difference in our lives, so then we can also impact positively on our communities as well. So big thanks, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you, Emma. Thank you.